Hey guys, Sherjan here, your personal mentor. So when you're in investment banking, management consulting, or accounting, one of these industries, there's a certain rank that you get at the end of the year. So if let's say you're an analyst or an associate, at the end of the year, you'll be ranked amongst your peers. And the best analysts and the best associates will be given the rank of top bucket. They're the best of the best in their group, in that office. Now, there's a lot of perks for being top bucket. Obviously, you'll get paid a little bit more, and you'll get the street credibility in your team for being top bucket. But other than that, in my opinion, actually it hurts you. And it actually takes a lot away from you than it actually gives you. So it's a bad ROI, and my recommendation is actually against chasing the top bucket title. Now, in this video, I want to talk about why aiming for being top bucket and chasing top bucket and putting all your eggs towards and all your efforts towards that one ultimate title can actually hurt you in the short term and the long term. So here we go. So what does top bucket mean? Top bucket means is you're the analyst or the associate who has crushed it in all aspects, right? You're the best in the financial analysis side and the technical side. You're also the best in terms of people love to work with you, and you're the most available. You're basically an all-rounder best person in the team, and you've won that title. Now, to get top bucket, just to let you know, if let's say you have a team of 10 analysts in your overall group, overall office, generally speaking, one or two people ultimately get top bucket. In my team at Morgan Stanley in Menlo Park, only one person was given top bucket in the entire class. Everybody else predominantly was given middle bucket, and one or two people were given bottom bucket, right? Now, obviously, you don't want to be bottom bucket, and I believe that anybody who's watching this channel, has the hustle and the hard work built into them to not get bottom bucket. But I'm sure some of you can actually have the ability to be top bucket. I personally don't think I have the ability to be top bucket because I know my competition is a lot better than me, and we had guys like Michael Ding, who was just a legend in the Morgan Stanley world and crushed it. But having said that, if you have the ability for getting top bucket without any issues, sure, go for it. But in this video, what I want to talk about is why you should actually not aim for it, because it can actually hurt you in the short term and the long term. So the first thing I want to mention to you about it is the amount of effort it takes to get top bucket is a lot greater than maintaining middle bucket, right? So when you're a top bucket analyst or an associate, you actually have to work a lot harder. And these industries are already very hard to work in, right? You're already pulling 80 hours a week, 90 hours a week, sometimes even 100 hours a week. So to get top bucket, you need to work even harder, even longer. So that means you're pulling 100-hour weeks consistently, right? You're there for the team whenever the team needs you, and you basically ultimately get burnt out. Now that's the biggest issue with aiming for that top bucket. Now, like I said, if you're naturally good at it and you can get the job done faster than anybody else, sure, go for it. But if that means you're actually spending 100 hours, 110 hours to get that top bucket title, it's not worth it. You'll get burnt out. It's going to take a toll on your physical health, and most importantly, it's going to take a toll on your mental health. And I don't want that to happen. And ultimately, it actually just hurts you, right? So that ultimate award you'll get at the end of the year is just not worth it if you're sacrificing physical and mental health. So that's the first thing. The amount of investment you'll make is just too much for the return you'll get. The second piece related to the first point I mentioned is also the monetary reward, or even the reward of recognition, right? When someone's top bucket, who are the people who actually know that you're top bucket? Just your team, maybe a few people around that team. That's about it. Nobody else on the street is going to come up to you and be like, hey, John, good job. You're a top bucket. I heard about it. Nobody says that. And nobody cares you're top bucket. Only you care, and the few people in your team that are around you will give you some congratulations at the end of the day. And the truth is, nobody gives you an award or a trophy for it. It's just a title that you are told that, hey, by the way, I heard Jenny is top bucket, and that's about it. But in terms of an award, a monetary award, yes, you get a little bit of extra money. Now, what does that money look like? If you're an analyst, generally speaking, let's just say if you're a middle bucket analyst in investment banking, you'll get a bonus of 60K, right? Now remember, the salaries are all the same. It's the bonuses that are differentiated between middle bucket, top bucket, and bottom bucket. But let's just say between middle bucket and top bucket, if middle bucket gets 60K annual bonus, top bucket might get 75K, right? Maybe 80K, let's just say, right? So about 35% more than what a middle bucket gets. But look at all the investment, all the hard work, all the struggle you had to put in to get that extra 20K. Was that worth it? Especially if that 20K post-tax is only 10K, right? Is that all the hours spent just in your cubicle for the entire year worth it? Is that all the toll it took on your physical health and your mental health? Was that worth $10,000? My view is no, it's not. It's not worth that return. So when you chase something like this, being the best at it or getting top bucket, it's just not worth it. because you're not going to be rewarded for it, unfortunately. Now, at the same time, if let's just say you come up to me and you're like, hey, Sherjan, if I get top bucket, I'll have better opportunities after I finish banking or after I finish consulting. I also disagree with that. Because the problem here is this. Remember, when you're aiming for the next opportunity after doing investment banking or consulting, let's just say you're aiming for business school, or let's say you're aiming for private equity or venture capital, they're not going to care too much about if you're top bucket or you're a decent middle bucket. That's not the reason they hire you. I've always told people that hiring and getting hired into a team is a people business, right? It's not about the fact that, hey, this person was top bucket and this person was middle bucket, so I'm only going to pick the top bucket. Yes, it can actually get you a referral in. One of your MDs could be like, oh yeah, Jenny was the best analyst in our team. But ultimately, when you get to that interview, you need to bring a lot more. So if you get to that interview with HBS or Stanford GSB or the interview with KKR or Sequoia Capital, you need to show that you're an all-rounder, not just great at modeling and getting that top bucket title in your previous job. So the reason for this that I'm mentioning is you need to start thinking beyond the platform, right? And when you start spending too much time in the platform, so platform being the job that you have, and you spend 100% of your available time in becoming top bucket, you don't have any time then to do other things outside of work. And that's called pushing beyond the platform. So what I want to kind of recommend to you is instead of chasing the top bucket title, which will take a lot of resource out of you, I would actually spend 80% of the time, chasing an elite middle bucket, recognition or award at the end of the year. And the remaining 20% of the time that you have, I would highly recommend that you do something else. Do something else beyond your work, something that's outside of the platform. Maybe start a small business on the side. Look at me, I started my coaching and mentorship school while I was an investment banking analyst, right? So start something on the side, and there must be something that you're passionate about that can actually differentiate you even better, right? Versus being differentiated by the fact that you're top or middle bucket. The other benefit of this is remember from the aspect of the people that are going to interview you next, right? Folks who are going to be at HBS or at KKR or any of these firms, when they look at two candidates, actually when they look at 200 candidates, they'll see a bunch of Goldman Sachs's and McKinsey's and PwC's, and Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley's, whatever, all those firms. They'll see 200 of those candidates, right? Do you think they're really going to care which one was top or middle? But what if one of the candidates has a side business that they've been running? One of the candidates has like this amazing other thing on a volunteer basis that they do on the side. Maybe one of the things that he or she does is like they're an elite international level piano player or an athlete. You never know what it is, right? That sets you apart and makes you a lot more interesting than saying that I'm top or middle bucket. All right, so anyways, in summary, what I would love for you guys to do is, yes, look, if you're naturally good at the job and you can easily achieve top bucket without investing too much time and effort into it, go for it. But if you feel like, hey, look, it's going to be a big struggle, it's going to allow, ask you to put in 20, 30 hours a week more than already a very tough job, then I would recommend against it. And I would recommend you taking those 20 to 30 hours and spending that outside of the platform, differentiating yourself, building some other passion that you have on the side, working on a hobby, helping other people, all of that stuff. Really, really diversifying your overall brand versus chasing this stupid title of top bucket. All right, hopefully this helps you guys. Hopefully this helps you focus in terms of what you need to do to achieve ultimate long-term success versus short-term success. Good luck.